What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be wrapping up our series on UFC 259, and we're going to be bringing you the main event between Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz. We're going to talk about everything you need to know about this fight. We're going to break down both of these fighters and predict the winner. All that and much more coming your way right now! Nick, we are 1 day away. 1 day away. I'm so excited. I can't wait. As we talked about the last 2 days, UFC 259 is arguably the most stacked card in UFC fight history. And the closer we get, the more and more I absolutely believe it. And today we are talking about the main event, Izzy versus Jan. I cannot wait. Why don't you get us started?
This is going to be by far the best fight of the night. This fight could go either way. There really is no favorite, even though you want to go Izzy just because he's undefeated, he has the bigger mouth, and he's a great talker. You can't underestimate Jan Blachowicz. This guy is an absolute powerhouse. He's putting Poland on the map, and I believe that you've got to be careful of where you're putting your money if you're betting, whether you or who you're taking in this fight, because when we look at it, Israel Adesanya, he is amazing at what he does, and he disguises what he does very well. He is a Muay Thai fighter. He stands up and box, and he loves using his leg kicks a lot. That's where his bread and butter is. That's how he sets up a lot of his strikes, and that's how he's had a lot of success in his UFC career. But looking at Jan Blachowicz, he is also a stand-up fighter. He is not much he doesn't do too much with his legs, but the power that he generates is unbelievable. And Israel Adesanya moving up to a weight class that I don't even believe he will be making the 205 limit. I believe that he will be weighing in at less than 200 pounds. I believe that could come back to haunt him if he's not taking full advantage of that weight, putting some extra padding on his body to absorb the blows. As we saw last year, Jan Blachowicz showed just how strong and powerful he is. It only takes a couple hits for his opponent to get knocked out, and he is a very tactical fighter. He is not going to rush the fight. He is going to sit back, make calculated decisions, and wait for the right openings to make his move. He is a very smart fighter, and that's why he's champion right now. If Izzy's going to claim this belt, he's going to have to be extremely tactical. This is not Paulo Costa. This is a different animal. This is a guy who actually knows how to fight, and Jan Blachowicz is going to be the biggest test of Izzy's career so far. I really think that Izzy, if he's going to win, has to sit back, dissect what Jan is trying to do, use his legs as he normally has, but he's going to have to work the legs of Jan to take some of the power away from his punches.
Yeah, I mean, as Corey Anderson and Dominic Reyes both learned the hard way, Jan Blachowicz is nobody to mess with, and after they both got knocked out by Blachowicz, it really showed us that he has the requisite power to truly compete with anybody in the 205 division. And I believe that Jan Blachowicz can do absolutely anything he wants in this division. Just looking at a lot of what his fight tape and just learning so much about him, it doesn't matter that he's coming in 2 inches under Izzy, or that he doesn't have the reach or the leg reach. His pure power is going to dominate here. And Izzy's going to have to do a better job, or a job of avoiding that power and utilizing his skill set to strike and then dodge. He's going to have to play a lot of defense here, because if Jan gets a hold of him with some of these strikes, it might be the end of the night for Izzy Adesanya. It truly might be. And I like Izzy. I really do. I think he is one of the greatest UFC fighters that we currently have in the UFC today. I love his game. I love his bravado. His ability to trash talk is almost unmatched. I don't know. I think Kevin Holland and gives him a good run for his money at this point. Uh, but nonetheless, Izzy is undefeated, and I believe he'll come in with a great game plan to counter what Jan Blachowicz does best. That being said, Izzy is a monster in and of himself, and just looking at some of his last fights, you talked about Paulo Costa. Well, Paulo Costa got knocked the f out. Yoel Romero, that was a unanimous decision, but then Robert Whitaker got knocked the f out too. I mean, every time that he is knocking somebody out, he's got performance of the night. He is absolutely putting on a show. Izzy Adesanya is nobody to be reckoned with, and I truly and honestly believe that this is the biggest test for Jan Blachowicz moving into this championship fight.
Oh yeah, without a question, this is Jan Blachowicz's biggest test. But I think it's both of their biggest tests, and I am going to take Izzy along with you. I think that you can't bet against this guy. He has so much in his arsenal. I think he's only shown us what he wants us to see, and he has so much more to offer. Israel Adesanya, if it gets down and dirty, he can pull out all the stops, and he is going to put his life on the line as he does in every fight, and he's going to come out victorious. But it's going to be slim. I believe that this is going to go the distance. I believe that this will come down to decision, but I have Israel Adesanya winning by unanimous decision. He's got to watch the heavy hands by Jan Blachowicz, and I think there's going to be some close calls in this one where we could say he almost got him right there, and it would have been all over. But I think that Izzy's going to come out victorious. I think he's going to prove that he is one of the best fighters in the UFC right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking Izzy in this fight, and I really struggled with this one because Jan can end any fight with one single punch and it's over, and Izzy can too. But Izzy doesn't have the requisite power to knock out Jan Blachowicz. I truly and honestly don't believe he does. So with that being said, I'm with you 100%. I believe it's a unanimous decision. I think Israel Adesanya is going to have to last all 5 rounds and actually put on a performance to get out of this fight victorious, because Jan Blachowicz is going to attack, and he's going to attack hard. His ability to go all 5 rounds is going to be interesting to watch. I believe Izzy can absolutely do it. Can Jan is the real question. So taking a look at, what I love to do here is the DraftKings Sportsbook. I take a look at what they got going, and it looks like Israel Adesanya is the favorite, just by a slight margin. He is minus 230, and Jan Blachowicz is plus 185. So there is some room here, but Izzy Adesanya is definitely the favorite for us and for Las Vegas moving forward. Nonetheless, this fight can go either way. And as I caution with every UFC card and event that we talk about, if you're putting bets, please bet responsibly, but also know that anything can happen in these fights. So placing a bet, I mean, I talked about how Jan can end a fight with one punch. So even though Izzy, truly and honestly believe is going to end up winning this fight, Jan can easily disrupt that by targeting a great punch. And I think that there's just a lot here where this is why we love this fight so much, because anything, and I mean anything, can happen.
Well, yeah, and if you look at those betting odds, they're neck and neck. They're pretty much dead even, like Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling were earlier this week, and that's why that one is a toss-up as well. But even Las Vegas thinks that Jan Blachowicz could end this fight at any moment, and they're not taking any chances, making the odds too much in the favor of Israel Adesanya. So I'm in favor of what Las Vegas has going on. I'm with them. I believe that this could end up being a toss up, but you can never bet against the guy who is undefeated, who has beaten everybody in the middleweight division aside from Kevin Holland, and has earned the right to possibly become champ, one of the few to ever do it in the UFC.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be absolutely incredible if Izzy can actually pull this off and, be the winner, because you know what? Then you know who's lurking in the shadows is John Jones. And listen, that's where it seems like we're on a crash collision course for. We are looking at Izzy coming in and absolutely dominating another division just so he can face John Jones and we can have the fight of the actual century between these two fighters. I mean, absolutely incredible. I hope he wins just so we have an opportunity to see that fight happen.
It would be quite something if that were to happen, but as we know, John Jones will be fighting the winner of Ngannou Stipe Miocic, and so if this fight were to happen, Jones versus Adesanya, it would take a couple years at least, and in that time frame, I would hope that Israel Adesanya would go defend his belt against a guy like Kevin Holland or take on a guy like Robert Whittaker for a rematch. That would be a lot of fun. Nonetheless, there is a ton of action going on in these top weight divisions for the men, 185 and up. It is stacked, and these guys are going to put on a show for us for the next few years.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked and I cannot wait. But I think that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching and make sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.